Hello, hello, and welcome, family. Listen, this is Andy Henriquez. I want to thank you for joining me for this powerful live training. We are going to be sharing the #1 strategy to allow you to be able to connect with your customers and your clients. Listen, I'm super excited you decided to tune in and join for this live training. So a couple of things I want you to do right away. Make sure that there's no distractions right now. I can tell you right now, this is going to take about an hour out of your time, but trust me on this, it is absolutely going to be worth it. And so I want you to make sure that you have a notepad close by, that you have a pen close by, because I got some great tips and strategies to share with you. And let me just tell you this, let me just reassure you of this. If you are in fact a speaker, or if you are a coach, or if you are an author, or if you're an inspiring speaker, coach, or author, let me just reassure you that you are absolutely in the right place. And so once again, I want to thank you for choosing to join me for this live training. The title of this training is the #1 strategy to be able to allow your customers, your clients, and your audience to be able to connect with your story, and ultimately so that you can influence them. Now, regardless of what you want to influence them to do, you may be looking to influence them to purchase your products, your services. Maybe you're looking to influence them to actually purchase your book. Maybe you're looking to influence them to buy your products or your services. Regardless of what you're trying to influence them to do, let me just reassure you that you are absolutely in the right place. And so right now we're doing something really, really powerful. I've got more than one live stream training taking place right now. And so some of you are viewing this on a private page, and some of you are viewing this in a private Facebook group. And so regardless of where you're tuning in from, let me just reassure you that you are in fact absolutely in the right place. If you are, listen carefully, let me tell you how you know you're in the right place. If you are either a speaker, a coach, an entrepreneur, an author, if you are looking to have more impact when you speak in front of your audience, in front of your customers and your clients, if you're looking to be able to connect with your potential customers and clients so that they'll purchase more of your products or more of your services, or if you know you have a book in you, or you are an aspiring author or already an existing author, and you want to be able to craft the kind of message that's going to allow you to connect with people and motivate them and inspire them to actually purchase your book, let me tell you, you are in fact in the right place. And so I just want to give a shout out to a couple people that I am able to see that they are on. I want to give a shout out to Roz Jones, Shawnee Haynes. Hey, how you doing? Thank you so much for tuning in and join me for this training. Now, for some of you who are watching on a private page, you and I, we may not be able to interact back and forth where I could see your names, but let me just tell you one more time, you're absolutely in the right place. Once again, for those of you joining me for the first time, my name is Andy Henriquez. I am a business storytelling coach. I help speakers, coaches, authors, and corporations to tap into the power of their story so that they can have more impact, and so that ultimately they can be able to influence people to purchase more of their products, more of their services. Or if they are already a speaker, they can allow themselves to be more impactful so that they can get more speaking opportunities, so that they can get requested to come back, and most importantly, so that they can monetize their message, right? To take a very powerful story, powerful message, and find a way to turn it into revenue, turn it into dollars. But you know, I believe that there is power in simplicity. So really the purpose of this training is I want to share with you the #1 strategy that I implement, that I share with high-end speakers and coaches, with my corporate clients, with my high-end one-on-one clients, to be able to help them to be able to get their story, to connect with their customers and clients, so that if they are out there speaking, they get requested to come back again. If they are a coach, then they're positioning their story in the marketplace so that they're attracting more of their customers and clients. Notice the word that I use, attracting, right? Because you can be a coach, you can be a business owner, and you can find yourself chasing, literally trying to chase down your customers and your clients. But ultimately, we want to put ourselves in a position where we craft such a message that our customers and our clients can relate to it, and so that we ultimately attract them and make them want to actually do business with us. And so if you are an entrepreneur, a service-based entrepreneur, if you also have products and so forth, and you're trying to cultivate a tribe, let me tell you, this one strategy that I'm going to share with you may in fact be able to transform your business and help you to take your business to the next level. Now, if you are in fact a speaker or a coach, and and you have just been trying to find a way so that you can be more impactful. Maybe you've had opportunities to get in front of audiences and speak, but you know in your heart, and if you know that you're being honest and transparent, you know that you can be more effective. You know that you can have greater impact on your audience, and you know that you would probably be more effective at being able to move them to action, whether it is because you want them to change their lives or you want them to purchase your products or your services. Let me assure you, you are absolutely in the right place, because this one strategy that I'm going to share with you is going to be able to position you so that you can separate yourself from the other competition out there, so you can separate yourself from other speakers and other coaches and be able to get more people to connect with you and more people to ultimately want to do business with you, so that ultimately you get more speaking engagements, so that you get more customers and more clients, and so that you're able to sell more of your products and your services. And listen, if you are an author, you know, here's one of the major challenges for many authors. They write a book and then they end up being an author on a little private island with boxes of books that they just can't sell after they've already sold to their friends and their family members. Literally, most book sales just become completely depleted. So how do you create that ongoing process so that you continue to sell the books, so that you continue to get opportunities to be able to talk about your book, and so that you have such a compelling story that people feel inspired and motivated to want to purchase your book? And so this one strategy that I'm going to share with you is going to be able to position you so that you can sell more of your products and your services and your books. So one more time, let me just tell you exactly who this training is for. This training is specifically for people who are speakers, people who are coaches, and also those of you who are authors, and those of you who are looking to take what you do to the next level. And so if that is in fact you, let me assure you that you are absolutely in the right place. And so let me also tell you this, because I want to respect your time. So we're going to spend about, I'll say about an hour together. And so this training should be wrapping up at about 1:00 p.m. Eastern time. And so you want to make sure that you're in a place without any distractions. Make sure that you have a pen and a paper where you can take some great notes and so forth. So one more time before we dive into the training, for those of you, it's your first time actually meeting me and connecting with me. My name is Andy Henriquez. I am a storytelling business coach. I help speakers, trainers, authors, coaches to be able to learn how to position their signature story so that they can better connect with their customers and their clients, so that they can sell more of their products and their services, so that they can have greater influence. You know, I've had the privilege of being a full-time speaker for over the past 6 years. Some of my clients include Bacardi, which is a billion-dollar company, Accenture, which is a global consulting firm that is also a billion-dollar company, the Broward Healthcare System down in South Florida, which is also close to a billion-dollar company, Office Depot Foundation, which is also a billion-dollar company. And so I've worked with some major corporations and really have helped them to be able to train their staff, their personnel, and show them how they can work on their story and position their story so that they can better connect with their customers, with their clients, and with their donors, and so that ultimately they can have more impact. You know, I've had the opportunity also to be featured in Black Enterprise. I've been featured in the Huffington Post. I've been featured on the Word Network. I've also been featured on Island TV and on Beacon TV. And trust assured, I'm sharing all of this really not to impress you, but just to impress upon you that everything that I'm sharing with you, I've had an opportunity to implement in my own personal life, and also to be able to implement in my business. And I know that these are sure proven strategies, especially this one strategy that I'm going to share with you is a proven strategy that if you implement it in your business, if you implement it in your speaking business, in your coaching business, if you implement it in your business when you're speaking to your customers, your clients, your prospects, or your audience, trust me, you're going to build greater connection. And with greater connection becomes greater influence. And with greater influence means ultimately, most of the time, means greater revenue, means greater impact. And also it means that you're going to have repeat opportunities. And so I know that if you're a speaker out there, if you're a coach out there, you're looking to create repeat opportunities. You don't want to literally just be able to get in front of an audience one time, and not be invited back. You want to do things so that you are invited over and over again. And that's only going to happen if you're able to create some true connection. Now, let me also tell you this. Let me tell you this. This particular training is not for the person who is just looking for strategies to just simply try to manipulate people or get over on people. No, this would not be a training for you. I speak specifically to heart-centered people, people who really are passionate about what they do, people who understand that they have a unique gift, that they have a unique talent, that they bring something unique to the marketplace. And because of the fact that they know that they bring something unique to the marketplace, they want to really be able to position their story from the heart so that they can better connect with people. So I'm not going to be teaching you techniques so that you can go out there and manipulate people and pull a fast one on people. And if that's what you're looking for, then I can tell you right now, this is not the training for you. But if you're a heart-centered person, if you are genuinely looking to connect with people, if you know that you have a genuine product, a genuine service, if you are really truly looking to make an impact and change other people's lives, then this training is in fact for you. So I just want to make it very clear on who this is not for and also who this is in fact for. And so just so you know, as you stick around with me in this training, there are a couple of things that I'm going to be doing with you. Number one, the first thing I want to help you out with is because I realize that in order for you to take advantage of what I'm going to be sharing during this training, you need to first know exactly what your signature story is. And so hopefully if you are a speaker already out there doing some speaking, if you're a coach, you're already out there, you got a couple of coaching clients and so forth, or if you are an author, hopefully you already know what your signature story is. Now, I do understand that there are some of you who are joining me for this training, and maybe perhaps for you, you don't yet know what your signature story is. And so what I do want to do is before I share this powerful strategy with you, I do need you to have a story in mind. And so what I want to do is I'm going to share with you during our time together, I'm going to share with you a couple of tips and strategies so that you can figure out exactly what would be your ideal story. And so in other words, if you are a speaker out there, one of the things I could tell you, if you want to develop your brand, if you want people to better connect with you, you better have a signature story, something that you become known for, something that resonates with your audience, something that resonates with your crowd, something that when people say your name, they say, oh man, I got to hear her speak. Do you know about that story that she shares about this? Or if you are a guy out there and you get in front of an audience, they say, hey, have you heard of such and such? You want it so that people say, oh yeah, I've definitely heard of him. Have you ever heard the story that he shares about this? And so that would be your signature story. That's the story that you become known for. If you're an author, that is oftentimes the main story, the main core story that's maybe in your book, the main message that you share to influence to actually want to purchase your book. And so before I can share with you what the number one strategy is, I need you to have in mind what a great story for you would be. And so before I move on and tell you what the best strategy is, I do want to in fact give you a couple tips that you can utilize to try to pinpoint and hone down on what would probably be like a slam dunk home run story for you. And so that's something that I promise you I'm going to do before our time is up together. The other thing is that I also want to make sure that I tell you up front is that I'm also going to share with you, which is the whole reason why you jumped onto this training. I'm going to be sharing with you the number one strategy so that you can get your tribe, your audience to be able to connect with your story, and so that ultimately you can have more impact and more influence, and that you can drive them to actually want to take action. And so that is a very unique strategy. This is a strategy that I share with many of my coaching clients that have literally paid thousands of dollars, and many of my coaching clients have been able to leverage this strategy to be able to get more speaking engagements, to get more visibility, to get more people to purchase their products and their services, to be able to sell more of their books. And so if you're looking for more speaking engagements, if you are looking to be able to attract more high-level customers and clients, or if you're looking to sell more books, this is the strategy that you are going to want to implement. And then the last thing that I want to do is I promise you before we close out, I'm going to extend to you a very special invitation to join me and a group of other individuals for a very powerful training experience. And 10 of you are going to get an opportunity to take advantage of a special bonus that is valued at $1,500. So the other thing is that I'm promising you is before your time is up with me today, before your time is up in this training, 10 of you are going to get the opportunity to be able to take advantage of a special bonus opportunity that is valued at $1,500. So you absolutely want to make sure that you stick with me on this. And so hopefully you got a pad, you got a piece of paper, or you got your little smart device out where you could take some notes. And so here's what I want to share with you. And this is where we're going to start off. You see, if you are a speaker, or if you're a coach, or if you are in fact an author, one of the things that's essential for you to be able to implement the strategy that I'm going to share with you is you got to be very crystal clear on what your signature story is. And so what I want to do is I want to share with you just a couple of tips and strategies that I share with many of my coaching clients and many of my students to help them to be able to locate what some of their signature stories are. And so if you've been trying to figure out where some of your best stories lie, and you've been maybe trying to spin your wheels and you're not quite sure where to look, I want to point you in the right direction. So here's one of the first places that you want to look when you're trying to find some of your very best stories. One of the first places that you want to look, and I want you to write this down, one of the first places that you want to look at is you want to look at your challenges. And so if you think about this, all of us, if you're tuning in right now, you have probably gone through some challenges in life. You've probably experienced some things that have happened to you. Some of you have experienced some financial challenges. Some of you have experienced some health challenges. Some of you have experienced some relationship challenges. I can tell you right now, if you are an adult, and everybody who's tuned into this, I can assure you, you have been through some challenges. There's been some things that are happening in your life that you didn't anticipate. I tell you right now, they caught you by the blind side. They were difficult. Some of you, you were working for a company for many years. You got laid off. Some of you, you are in a marriage, and unfortunately, that marriage got compromised. And unfortunately, you find yourself in a situation where you are facing a divorce, or you went through a difficult breakup. Some of you have gone through some financial difficulties where you made an investment and you lost your money, or maybe perhaps you had a certain amount of money saved up and then you got let go from your job and you depleted all of the funds. Some of you have gone through some challenges where you were pursuing a goal, a dream, and a vision, and something happened. But I could tell you this, is every single place in your life where you have undergone a significant challenge, I could also tell you that there's also probably a phenomenal story there. And so there's always going to be a great story wherever you have experienced a challenge. And so why is it important that we think about our challenges? Well, one of the reasons why it's important, and I want you to write this down, oftentimes there's going to be greater connection in your challenges and in your trials than there is in your triumphs and in your victories. I'm going to say that one more time. There's often going to be a greater level of connection in your challenges and in your trials than there will be oftentimes in your victories and in your successes. And so what happens to a lot of people is they want to share their victories and they only want to share their successes. But what they don't realize is that they miss out on a special opportunity to connect with their customers, their clients, and their audience. And so a great place for you to identify and look for some of your best stories is going to be specifically where you have encountered some serious challenges. And so that's one of the first places that you definitely want to look. Now, here's someplace else that you want to look. If you've been trying to figure out where you can find some of your great stories, the other place that you want to look is you want to look at places where you have undergone some significant transitions. I want you to write that down, transitions. And so you say, well, Andy, what do you mean by transitions? All of us in our lives, we go through transitions. Like, you know, some of you used to work in corporate America, and now you went through a transition before you became a full-time entrepreneur. And so you used to work a job, and now you are a full-time entrepreneur. And so you went through a transition to get there. Some of you were accustomed to literally never making more than 6 figures. And some of you went through a transition where you finally broke the mark and you started to make 6 figures. For you, that was a significant transition. Some of you went from being single, right, to maybe perhaps becoming married, or went from being married to becoming divorced. That was a significant transition. And so all of us are going to go through some transitions in our lives. And oftentimes in our transitions, you're going to find some compelling and very powerful stories. So I want you to be looking in the areas in your life where you've gone through some challenges, some areas in your life where you have gone through some transitions. And in the other place that you want to look at, where oftentimes you can find some great stories, is going to be what are known as your defining moments, your defining moments. And so there's something in particular that I love. And there's a quote by Kevin Costner. And here's what he said. He said, when the defining moment comes, he said, either you define the moment or the moment defines you. And so one of the things that I absolutely know, is that all of us in life are going to go through a series of defining moments. All of us go through a series of defining moments in our lives. And so one of the things that I want you to realize is that oftentimes in those defining moments, you're going to have some phenomenal stories. And so a lot of times when we hear success stories for people, there's normally one particular moment where everything changed. And so what is a defining moment? It's the moment that something significant happened in your life and it changed the trajectory of your life. It's the moment that you made a significant decision and all of a sudden everything changed in your life, where either you made a decision or you failed. Listen carefully. Either you made a decision or you failed to make a decision, and acting on the decision or failing to act on the decision significantly changed and impacted your life. And so when we look at our lives, when we're looking at our businesses, those are three areas that you can oftentimes find your stories. And I'm going to repeat those one more time just so you can remember. You want to be thinking about, number one, you want to be thinking about challenges, any significant challenges that you've gone through or places that you want to look at. Transitions are another phenomenal place that you can find some of your best stories. And also the last thing is, if you recall what I said, are defining moments. Defining moments are the other place that you can actually find some very powerful stories in your life. And so when I look back at my own personal life, and I remember at one particular time sort of struggling and trying to figure out what my story was, what I realized is that coincidentally, my story happened to touch all of those. My story had to deal with a significant challenge. My story included a transition, and my story was also a defining moment. And I don't want to spend a bunch of time on my story because I want to get to this strategy that I want to share with you, but I just want to give you a little insight of my story. You know, I grew up in a Caribbean household and where my parents really emphasized the importance of going to school and getting a good education and getting a good job. And so you don't have to come from a Caribbean household. There may be a lot of you remember your parents advising you the importance of going to school, get a good education so you can get a good job. And so listen, I followed the script. I did exactly what my parents told me to do. I went to school at Florida State University. I got my undergraduate degree in accounting. I got my master's degree in corporate accounting. During the master's program, a group of us in the master's program were like crazy. While we were in the master's program, we studied for the CPA exam. I mean, we were putting in some serious hours to study for the CPA exam. I took the CPA exam while I was still in college in the master's program. I passed the CPA exam and I landed a job with one of the largest professional service firms in the world. I started working with a company by the name of PricewaterhouseCoopers. And here's what you have to realize. I was working for this company, literally I was working for this company for about 3.5 years. And after working with them for about 3.5 years, I started to realize that my life was starting to follow a basic routine. And maybe perhaps you could relate. I was waking up every day to the sound of an alarm clock. I was jumping out of my bed. I was getting in my car. I was fighting traffic to get to a job and to get to a place in which something inside me was saying, you know, there's got to be more than this. And maybe you could relate to get into a place in your life, a job, an opportunity, a set of circumstances where you found yourself just saying, you know what, there's got to be more than this. And I got to be honest with you, I knew that it was time for me to make a decision to leave my corporate job. But let me tell you something, there was another part of me that was afraid. You see, I was afraid of leaving and walking away from all the time I had spent in getting my degree and passing the CPA exam. I was afraid of starting over again. I was afraid of things not necessarily working out. And on top of that, listen, I didn't want to walk away from that paycheck. I was getting paid consistently every 2 weeks. And I was getting paid very well from this large corporation. And so obviously I didn't want to leave that behind, but I knew that it was time for you to make a change. And so, you know, I tell you this, fear kept me from acting. And so for about 1.5 years, I kept contemplating the thought of stepping out there and doing something significant in my life, but I didn't do it. And so maybe perhaps you can relate to wanting to do something and allowing fear to paralyze you, right? Somebody, I believe it was Zig Ziglar, said that fear is false evidence appearing real. And so I believe that, but there's another part of me that says this: listen, it may be false evidence appearing real, but let me tell you this, the effects of fear are very real. Fear will paralyze you. Fear will keep you from moving forward. And so for 1.5 years, I thought about taking a chance on myself. I thought about acting, and I thought about just moving forward on my goals and my dreams, and I did it. And I tell you this, it wasn't until December of 2004 that became my defining moment. December of 2004, I finally built up some courage. You know, there's a gentleman by the name of Ambrose Redmoon. Here's what he said. He said that courage is not the absence of fear, but he said that courage is the judgment that the thing that you want is greater than the fear. And so I finally built up some courage, right? And I walked into the office of the lady who was head of HR at the time. Her name was Tammy Klein. And I was so scared. I was so nervous. And I put in my letter of resignation. And she was like, Andy, where are you going? And I remember just saying something really good. I had no idea what I was going to do, but I just knew that I had to take a major leap. I knew I had to just step outside of my comfort zone. And I tell you, that became a defining moment for me, because that would start my journey to ultimately figuring out what my passion was, to figuring out what my calling is. That would create the journey, allowing me to really dig deep into my personal development, allow me to be trained by some of the best in the industry, like T. Harv Eker and Tony Robbins and Les Brown, and also being able to travel and go to major corporations and so forth, and be able to train speakers, coaches, and authors and help them to be able to master their story. None of that would have taken place if I did not decide to act back in December of 2004. Now, what I want you to realize is that for me personally, it just so happened that my story included all three elements. My story included a challenge. I was facing a challenge. My challenge was internal. It was Andy versus Andy, right? And so my challenge was internal, that thing inside of me that's saying, Andy, there's got to be more than this. And then another part of me that's saying, Andy, come on, man, take a chance, step out there, go after your goals and your dreams. Then another part of me saying, nah, man, don't do it. It's too risky. It's not going to work out. What are people going to think about you? So I was dealing with the challenge. My challenge was internal. Sometimes your challenges are going to be internal. The other thing is, listen, for me, it was a major transition. For me to leave corporate America and decide to step out there and go after my goals and my dreams, listen, that was a major transition. But I tell you this, not only was it a major transition, but for me, it was a defining moment. It was a defining moment because I can trace back, when I look back at my life, I can trace back literally that one major defining moment, that one major defining moment completely changed everything around for me and changed the trajectory of my life. It's the reason why I'm able to do everything that I do today. And so what I want you to realize is that you too also have some tremendous stories. You've got stories that probably somewhere around your challenges, around your transitions, and also around perhaps maybe a defining moment that you've gone through. Now, here's what I want you to understand. If you are a speaker, if you are a coach, and if you are an author, once you find what your story is, your goal, your aim is to get as many people as possible to be able to connect with your story, to connect with your message, so that ultimately you can influence them. And one of the things I need you to understand is you must be able to connect with people before you're able to sell them. So before you can sell your products, before you can sell your services, before you can sell them on an idea, before you can sell them to act and take action on something, you got to be able to connect with them. And one of the best ways that you can connect with them is through your story. And so the reason why I wanted you to join me for this training is really because I want to share with you one of the #1 strategies that I show speakers, authors, and coaches that they can be able to tap into and actually leverage so that they can get people to connect with their story. And so hopefully you've got a story in mind. Maybe it's a story around a challenge. Maybe it's a story around a transition. Maybe it's a story around a defining moment. Maybe for you, it's one story that happens to encompass all of those things. But what I want to share with you is really a powerful strategy so that you can get the masses, so that you can get the most amount of people to actually be able to connect with your story. Now, before I can go ahead and teach you that strategy, I'm going to take you back a little bit to grade school. And so here's why I want to take you back. If you remember back in high school, back in grade school, in English class, I know some of you want to forget English class. Maybe that wasn't your strongest subject, but I want to bring this point home because I want you to catch this so that you can understand this strategy. If you remember back in high school in English class, sometimes you were asked to read something. You were asked to read a paragraph. You were asked to read an essay. You were asked to read a couple of passages. And then one of the questions that they would ask you after you read the paragraph, the passage, or the story, they would say, we want you to identify what is the theme. What is the theme? Now stay with me because I need you to get this so that you can understand this very powerful strategy I'm going to share with you, that if you're a speaker, that if you're a coach, if you're an author, if you own a service-based business and you're trying to get more people to connect with your message and connect with your story, I'm going to show you this strategy that you can implement, but you need to get this first. And so if you remember back in high school, in English class, when you read this essay, you read this poem, you were asked to find out what the theme was. Now, let me refresh your memory. Here's what a theme is. The theme of a story or a theme of a message is the main point. It's like the main takeaway. It's the big idea that is in the actual story. And so here's what I want you to understand. As a speaker, as a coach, right, as an entrepreneur, when you share your story, when you share your message, you need to have a theme. There needs to be a major takeaway. There needs to be a main message that your audience or that your customers and your clients can actually connect to, right? So there needs to be a theme there. Because listen, nobody's letting you come on their stage and share your story and share your message if you don't have any takeaways for the audience. Nobody is interested in actually signing up for your coaching if you're not able to first connect with them and share some good information, some good content that they find valuable so that they can say to themselves, you know what, I want more. And so therefore, I want to sign up for your coaching and your services. No one's going to want to necessarily buy your book if you can't first be able to connect with them and be able to communicate the message that you have that's in the book. And so when we share our story, we want to make sure that our story has a major theme, that it has some type of a takeaway, a big idea. Now, here is where the #1 strategy lies. Here's where the powerful strategy, this is what you have been waiting for, and this is what I want you to stick around so that you can really be able to get this before I extend a special invitation to you and also tell you how you can get access to a very special bonus of $1,500. If you're a note taker, this is what I want you to understand. The #1 strategy is, write this down, the #1 strategy is for you to identify what the theme is in your story, but then for you to make sure that your theme becomes a universal theme. And so I'm going to explain exactly what that means. But you need to be able to take the major takeaway in your story, the major takeaway in your message, and you need to be able to make it so that your message becomes the audience's message, so that your message becomes your customers and your clients' message, so that your message becomes all of those individuals that you're looking to influence becomes their message. Now, there is a special way for you to do that. You need to be strategic and you need to know exactly how to take your significant or major theme and you need to know how to make your theme become universal. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples of what I'm talking about. So perhaps you have a story, and your story, your unique individual story, is about you losing your job and being caught by the blind side. Like one day you showed up to your job and out of the blue, you got called in by HR and you got fired from the job. Let's just say that that happens to be your story. I'm not wishing that on anybody, but let's just say that that happened to be your story. Well, here's what happens. If you are sharing that as your story, as a speaker or as a coach or as an author of a book, the people who are listening to you, your customers, your clients, your audience, the people that you're looking to influence, they may or may not have gone through the same experience. So maybe some of them who are sitting down in your audience or some of your customers and your clients have no idea what it's like to be fired from a job. They've never been fired from a job. And so if all you do is position your story and all you keep talking about is how you got fired from the job, and you don't make the connection between your story and how it can apply to them, you're going to lose a significant amount of the people in your audience. And so what you need to learn to do, the number one strategy is to always go one step further and figure out what the universal theme is in your story. So let me give you an example. For the person who maybe your story is that you got fired from the job, everybody in your audience may not be able to relate to the fact that you got fired from the job. However, if when you got fired from the job, it was completely unexpected and you got caught by the blind side, then that could become your universal theme. Because even though they can't necessarily relate to being let go from a job, they can, however, relate to being caught by the blind side. And so what you need to learn to do is to go one step further and don't get them to just focus on the fact that you lost your job, but get them to focus on the universal theme, which is that you got caught by the blind side. And so that way you're able to now create what I call bridges to the audience. And so you can now tell them, hey, you know what? I got let go from my job. And maybe perhaps that's not what happened to you. But what I want you to understand is I got caught by the blind side. And maybe you got caught by the blind side. Maybe you went into the doctor for a regular doctor visit and they told you, we got to run some additional tests. There's some things that don't necessarily look right. Maybe you got caught by the blind side. You were at home relaxing and your husband or your wife walked into the room and said, hey, we got to talk. And you said, well, what do we need to talk about? And they said, well, listen, I think I want a divorce. Maybe you got caught by the blind side. Maybe you made a significant investment and you got a call from your business partner or your financial planner to tell you that all the funds got depleted and that you lost all of your investment. Maybe you got caught by the blind side because you were in the process of doing something and all of a sudden you just got hit and you just totally didn't expect it. Now, what you've done is you've taken your story that was just about you getting let go from a job, and now you've made your theme in your story become universal because you went beyond the fact that you just lost your job, and now you decided to go one step further and focus on being blindsided. And everybody can relate to being blindsided. Everybody can relate to being caught off guard. And so that is what makes it powerful. See, here's what a universal theme does. A universal theme allows your story to become their story. I'm going to say that one more time. A universal theme allows your story to become their story. And so here's what that means. Here's what that means now. It means that you're going to have an opportunity to influence more people. It means that you're going to have an opportunity to connect with more people. It means that you're going to have an opportunity to get more people to actually take action, right? And so when you are a speaker, when you are a coach, when you are an author, when you own a business and you're looking to attract more people to you, you want to be able to share the kind of a story that is not just your story, but that your customers, your clients, your audience, and your prospect can relate to. And so they feel a connection with you. When they feel a connection with you, you are more likely to be able to influence them. Let me give you another example. Let's say that your story is about you losing a significant amount of money in an investment. And so let's say you lost a significant amount of money in an investment and you lost all of your money. And as a result of losing all of your money, you had to start all over again. Well, here's what happens. If all you do is just park your story on the fact that you lost a significant amount of money, there may be people who are sitting in your audience who have never taken a big enough risk and that they've never lost a significant amount of money. And so let's say your story was about losing tens of thousands of dollars, or if you ended up in six figures of debt, and there may be people who are sitting in your audience that just can't relate to losing that kind of money. Now, what you need to do, once again, the number one strategy is to go one step further and to not just park your story on the fact that you lost all that money, but to go one step further and to actually find the universal theme. And so if the universal theme was that you had to keep pushing forward, or maybe the universal theme was that you had to start over, everybody can relate to being in a situation where they had to keep pushing forward in spite of the circumstances. So maybe what you do is when you're sharing the story, you let them know, hey, listen, I lost all my money in my savings. And every part of me wanted to give up. Every part of me wanted to quit. But one of the major things that I had to learn is I had to learn to keep pushing forward. And now you can make your story become their story by saying, I don't know what you're going through. Maybe you're going through a significant divorce right now. Maybe you're going through a financial difficulty. Maybe perhaps you are going through a challenge in your relationship. Maybe you're going through a financial difficulty. Maybe you're going through a health challenge, a health diagnosis. All I know is that whatever you're going through, you have to keep pushing forward. Now you've given them something that they can relate to, because if they can't necessarily relate to losing all that money, they most likely can get something significant from you telling them, hey, keep pushing forward, keep going after your goals and your dreams, keep making some things happen. And so what you're doing is you are going beyond just talking about the one event that happened to you. And what you're doing is you're finding what the universal theme, the universal message is in your story. If you can begin to learn to do that, if you can stop just focusing on just the one event that happened in your story, if you can take some time to think about what's the theme in my story, and then try to map out what the universal theme is in your story, that is going to be able to help you to take things to an entirely different level. I'm telling you that when my coaching clients and my students and those that train with me learn to implement this process, what they find are significant results. They say, Andy, listen, you know what? The last time I spoke in front of that audience, I felt a disconnect. I felt like I was losing some people in the audience. But now, because of the fact you showed me how to figure out what the universal theme is in my story and how to make sure that I create bridges, which is basically connections with the audience between my story and their story, now I find that I'm being more impactful when I speak. Now I find that people are wanting to invite me back to come and speak in front of their clients. They say some of the people who own businesses or they've got products and their services, they say, Andy, listen, man, ever since I started to implement the universal theme, when I share my story, I find that more of my potential coaching customers and my clients and my ideal customers or clients are better relate to my story. And so because of that, more of them are signing up for my coaching. More of them are signing up for my webinars, my teleseminars. More of them are signing up for discovery calls with me. And some of them are saying, Andy, listen, ever since you showed me how to find the universal theme in my story and position that, now I'm getting more people to connect with my book. And I'm getting more people lined up to actually purchase my book after I speak. And so this strategy literally is a game changer. And so all you have to do is find out what the theme is in your story, but then for you to go one step further and actually figure out what the universal theme is in the story. Now, one or two other things that I did share with you before our time is up is that I promised you, I made a promise to you that I was going to share and give you a very special invitation and also tell you how you can potentially get access to a $1,500 value bonus. And so here's my special invitation to you. And this invitation is specifically for those of you out there who are speakers, who are coaches, and who are authors, or you are an aspiring speaker, coach, or author. And also if you are an entrepreneur with a product and a service, and you intend on using speaking to be able to connect with more of your customers and more of your clients so that you can enroll them into what it is that you do. And so this invitation is specifically for people who intend to use their story, to use their message so that they can have impact with people, so that they can get more people to buy their products and their services, so that they can get more speaking engagements, so that they can get invited back to speak, so that they can get more people to buy their products and their services. If you are looking to strengthen your message, if you are looking to strengthen your story, then I want to extend a very special invitation for you to join me in beautiful South Florida on September 7th through the 9th. And I'm inviting you to join me in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, for what is known as my Master Storyteller Academy. And so my Master Storyteller Academy is literally a 3-day transformational hands-on training experience where I work with a small, intimate group of speakers, coaches, entrepreneurs, and authors who are looking to take their message and take their message to an entirely different level, to map down what their signature story is, to find out how to position their signature story in every aspect of their business so that they can influence more people, get more people to buy their products and their services, enroll more people into their tribe, so that they can be able to have greater influence when they get in front of their next speaking engagement, they get in front of their next customers and their next clients and their next audience, and so that they can get more people to actually take action. This is a 3-day experience. I have a limited amount of room of the individuals who are going to be able to join me, and this experience literally can transform the way that you share your story in your business, as a speaker, from the stage, as an author, to be able to get more people to buy your products and your services. Now, here's what I want you to do. Very simple. For those of you who want to learn more about the Master Storyteller Academy, I want to extend to you a private invitation to simply go to Master Storyteller Academy. I'm going to repeat the website, and all you have to do is fill out a very quick application, and that application is going to allow either myself or somebody on my team is going to reach out to you after you book your appointment, and we're going to get on the phone for 15 minutes, very quick 15 minutes, to simply give you all the information that you need so that you'll be able to make a decision whether or not you are going to join us on September 7th through the 9th in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, for the Master Storyteller Academy. So real quickly, let me tell you how you're going to get there. Then I'm going to tell you about this very special bonus that I have for you. So all you have to do, open up a separate web browser, and you're going to type in, listen carefully, write this down, Master Storyteller, all one word, Master Storyteller Academy.com. All together, 3 separate words, but all connected and all spelled out properly. Master Storyteller Academy.com. I'm going to say that one more time. Master, M-A-S-T-E-R, Storyteller, S-T-O-R-Y-T-E-L-L-E-R, Academy, A-C-E, right? D-E-M-Y.com. So Master Storyteller Academy.com. So all you're going to do is head over to Master Storyteller Academy. You're going to see the Apply Now button. All you're going to do is fill out the application. It's literally going to take you no more than about 1 to 2 minutes to fill out that application. After you fill out the application, you will be instructed and prompted where you can go ahead and book your very own quick 15-minute conversation, and somebody from my team will connect with you and provide you with all the details so that you can decide whether or not you're going to be joining us on September 7th through the 9th. Now, I shared with you that I'm going to be sharing a very special bonus. Here's what the bonus is. For the first 10 people who have listened to this particular training, headed over to MasterStorytellerAcademy.com and decide to actually join us on September 7th through the 9th, the first 10 people who actually take action and actually join us, here is a very special bonus that I'm going to be providing you. I'm going to be giving the first 10 people access to my online storytelling coaching program. It is known as the Ultimate Storytelling Blueprint. My Ultimate Storytelling Blueprint coaching program is an online coaching program that you can access from your computer, from your tablet, anywhere from across the world. It is literally me coaching you directly. It is the equivalent of you having me sit down right next to you. And in that particular online coaching program, I share with you some wonderful techniques and strategies to be able to help you to discover what some of your best stories are, show you exactly how you can develop those stories, position those stories so that they have the most amount of impact, and how you can deliver those stories so that if you're a speaker, you have more impact, so that if you're a coach, you get more people to actually want to sign up for your coaching programs, and also if you're an author, so that you get more people to actually want to purchase your book. And so that program is called the Ultimate Storytelling Blueprint. Literally the first 10 people who decide to go ahead and apply and also join me for September 7th through the 9th, you're going to get access to my online Ultimate Storytelling Coaching Program, which is literally 18 different lessons of me coaching and training you. Also, there is an interactive workbook where you're going to be able to apply the techniques and the strategies that I share in that particular coaching program so that you can take the principles, the techniques, and the strategies and apply them to your business, to your speeches, and to your talks so that you can take things to an entirely different level. But not only are you going to get access to my ultimate storytelling blueprint program, but in addition to that, the first 10 people are going to get a 1-hour, one-on-one private coaching session with me prior to the actual Master Storyteller Academy on September 7th, 8th, and 9th. So the first 10 people, not only are you going to get access to the Ultimate Storytelling Blueprint program, but in addition to that, you're going to get a 1-hour bonus coaching strategy session one-on-one with me personally. And so my assistant Ella will make sure that we actually schedule you for that actual coaching session. And of course, we'll be welcoming you to the Master Storyteller Academy program and to what is referred to as my MSA family. And so I've got some tremendous, amazing people who are part of my Master Storyteller Academy family, people who've already gone through the program, who are implementing the things that they learned to be able to help them to take their businesses, take their speeches, take their coaching business and everything to an entirely different level. So one more time, let me remind you exactly where you need to go to be able to apply. Once again, you want to write this down. You are going to head over to, listen carefully, masterstorytelleracademy.com. So once again, that is 3 words, all properly spelled together, masterstorytelleracademy.com. One more time, masterstorytelleracademy.com. Head on over there, fill out the very quick application, and after you fill out the application, you'll see where you can go ahead and schedule yourself for a quick 15-minute phone call, and somebody from my team will make sure to talk to you and give you all the details so that you can decide whether or not you're going to join us on September 7th through the 8th in Fort Lauderdale, Florida for this transformational coaching program. You know, let me tell you, one of the best things that I love doing is helping people who are entrepreneurs, who are speakers and coaches, to take their story and their message to an entirely different level. I think about one of my past coaching clients, a gentleman by the name of Tim. Tim was a very successful businessman, and Tim and I were able to work together. We worked specifically on helping him to discover what his signature story was and how he can apply his signature story to his speeches and to his business. Since the time that we've actually worked together, he has been able to leverage the work that we did together to go ahead and publish an additional 4 books. So he was already a published author, but he published an additional 4 books. And now consistently, he gets to 2 to 3 speaking engagement per month. And a couple of those speaking engagements, he has gotten $10,000 for those speaking engagements. And this has literally all happened within a 1-year period. And so I know firsthand what happens when people decide to get very serious about working on their story, about developing their message, and finding out how to roll out their story in every aspect of their business and every aspect in what it is that they're doing. And so I am hoping that you are going to decide to join me for a very powerful transformational training that is going to take place on September 7th through the 9th in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Once again, you're going to head over to the masterstorytelleracademy.com, masterstorytelleracademy.com. So let me just refresh your memory what I shared with you throughout this training. One of the things that I tell you is that one of the things is, in order for you to implement the powerful strategy that I shared with you on this training, you need to first be able to identify where some of your best stories are. And if you recall, I said some of your best stories are going to fall around your challenges, because we all go through some challenges in life. Some of them are going to be around your transitions, because most of us have gone through a transition, and they're going to fall around your defining moment. All of us go through a series of defining moments in our lives that change the trajectory of our lives. If you look at your challenges, if you look at your transitions, if you look at your defining moments, those are going to be some wonderful areas for you to find some of your best stories. But remember what I said, I'm taking you back to high school, right? That when you have a phenomenal story, you need to be able to find out what the actual universal theme is in your story. Remember, the theme is like the big idea, the big message. And so remember, I told you that if you want to be able to connect with more people, get more people to connect with your message, You want to figure out what the universal theme is. And so we want to go one step further in whatever it is that you're sharing. You want to identify what the universal theme is. And so remember, I gave you as an example, I told you if your story is about losing a job, we don't want to just park it there. Let's say you were completely caught by the blind side. Then we want to go ahead and leverage and position your story about being caught by the blind side, because most people, even though they may not be able to relate to losing their job, they can relate to getting caught by the blind side. They can relate to having to make a comeback. They can relate to having to start all over again. They can relate to having to keep pushing forward. And so all of those things are like universal themes. You have to, as a speaker, as a coach, as an entrepreneur, you need to take some time to start thinking about in your messages. You need to think about what are the universal themes in your messages so that you can actually get people to take action and so that you can better connect with them. And so one more time, I want to remind you that the first 10 people who head on over to Master Storyteller Academy, fill out the application, and actually join me on September 7th through the 9th are going to get access to $1,500 worth of value of bonus content and training. You're going to get access to my Ultimate Storytelling Blueprint online coaching program, 18 powerful lessons that are designed to help you to, number one, discover some of your best stories, develop them, and then be able to deliver them with impact. The other thing is you're going to get an interactive workbook. Download that online workbook that you can exercise and implement some of the stuff. You're going to get a 1-hour coaching session with me so that we can do a deep dive around what your message, what your story is, about what's going on in your speaking, what's going on right now in your coaching business, and maybe perhaps what's going on for you as an author and so forth. And maybe I'll be able to give you some tips and strategies to help you to take that to the next level. And so one more time, do me a quick favor, head on over to masterstorytelleracademy.com. Once again, that is masterstorytelleracademy.com. I'm going to say that one more time, masterstorytelleracademy.com. Fill out the very quick application there, and I'm looking forward to speaking to those of you who are going to be filling out your applications. And I'm really excited about those of you who are going to be joining me in South Florida on September 7th through the 8th, September 7th through the 9th, I'm sorry, for the 3-day transformational, intimate, hands-on Master Storyteller Academy. This particular powerful transformational program I've seen actually transform people's messages. And so people who are already speakers, coaches, authors, aspiring speakers, coaches, authors, people are looking to grab their tribe. They came in not having clarity on what their story was, on what their message is. And those 3 days that we spend together, we really help you to gain clarity on what your story is, on what your message is, show you how to position it so that you can better connect with people, show you so that you can have better impact. You'll get an opportunity. I'm going to be showing you some of the best techniques and strategies that I implement when I'm speaking to major corporations, delivering keynote messages and so forth. And you're going to get an opportunity to actually practice and implement what you're learning. And so we break up into, and we group up in pairs, we do small groups, and you'll get an opportunity to actually share your message, get live feedback. We're talking about transformational. I can assure you, however you come to that training and how you leave are going to be entirely different. And so I can't wait for you to join us for the Master Storyteller Academy. And you definitely want to act right away so that you can take advantage of the special bonus that's available to you, where you get access to the Ultimate Storytelling Blueprint online program, as well as a 1-hour strategy with me. So once again, listen, I just want to thank all of you for taking the time to join me for this online live stream training. I thank you for taking the time to register. Some of you had to duck away and cut away from work, take away times from your busy schedule as an entrepreneur. But hopefully you got something from this particular training that you'll be able to implement. And remember the importance of just finding that universal theme so that you can get more people to connect with your products and with your services and with your message. And so that ultimately you have more influence, and with more influence means greater success, means more speaking engagements. It means hopefully eventually demanding more for your speaking opportunities. It means you getting more customers and more clients, coaching customers and clients, people being attracted to you because your message resonates with them. It means selling more of your books because you know how to share a message that inspires people to be able to purchase your books. And so listen, if you're a speaker, a coach, an author, a person who has a business, service-based business, you do not want to sleep on developing your message and developing your story. And so hopefully you'll be joining me for the Master Storyteller Academy one more time. You're going to head on over to masterstorytelleracademy.com, masterstorytelleracademy.com. Now, do me a favor as you're signing off, those of you who are signing off, for those of you who are on the private page where this particular training was hosted, do me a favor, hit the share button. You can share this training on Twitter. You can share it on Google+. You can share it on Facebook. But hit the share button because there's probably somebody who is connected with you in your tribe, somebody who is that is part of your group that could really benefit from this training. So do me a favor, share this on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it on part of your tribe. All you got to do is hit the share button. You'll see it right there on the page. And I can assure you that you're going to bless somebody because somebody's going to get something from this training that they'll be able to implement in their own personal lives. That's going to be able to help them to take their speaking, their coaching, and their book sales to an entirely different level. And so once again, I thank you so much for the time that you decided to spend with me. Thank you so much for being part of this special training. Hopefully you are going to implement this one strategy. Remember what I tell you, you got to find that theme. You got to find the universal theme and always be intentional about sharing that. And if you implement this one strategy, it's going to help you to better connect with your customers and your clients and your audience. And it's going to allow you to have greater impact and ultimately produce greater income. Once again, thank you so much for joining me for this powerful live stream training. Stay tuned. There's going to be more trainings like this coming your way. And once again, head on over to masterstorytelleracademy.com. Once again, that's masterstorytelleracademy.com. Thank you for your time. Looking forward to connecting with you. The link to the Master Storyteller Academy will also be sent to you via email. But I thank you so much for joining me for this training. Thank you so much. God bless.